Update. Am I the a-hole if I ask my sister to leave my house since she refuses to watch my kids? Original post. A little background story. I, 27 female, married my husband, 32 male. We have 2 kids, 11 female and 2 male. 2 years ago, I asked my little sister, who was 20 at the time and will turn 22 in a month, to come live with us and help out with the kids as I needed. She was in an abusive relationship and needed a place to stay. At first, it was for her to get back on her feet since she was getting out of the situation. The initial thing was that we would pay her $200 a week to watch our 4-month-old at the time, Monday through Friday 6:30 a.m. till 2 p.m., and she could use my car anytime she needed to. If she wanted an afternoon job, that was totally fine. She happily accepted. A month had passed and she told me she was getting depressed being inside every day and she couldn't do this anymore. I told her that's okay. Her mental health is very important, but she should still be able to watch the kids when we need her to, like date night, etc. We found someone else to watch our kid. Fast forward 2 years later, she works full-time, doesn't pay any bills, doesn't help around the house, not even washing the dishes, taking out the trash, cooking dinner, or even buying groceries or things the house needs. Like no help at all. Last week, my husband and I went out for a bit. Mind you, we asked her the weekend before if she could watch the kids, and she said yes. Within an hour of us being out, my husband and I received this. I just want to say this to get this off my chest. This isn't an attack and this isn't me being ungrateful. I just want you guys to try to consider my point of view. My point of view is that I don't appreciate being used as a service whenever it's convenient for y'all. I understand this is all I'm good for, but there are some days where I don't want to come home after a 9-hour shift and watch a baby. I didn't decide to have children, you guys did. And the only person who ever appreciates me for it and only thanks me for it is brother-in-law. So it has been building up inside me and causing resentment that my own sister will refuse to recognize my accomplishments because it's what I'm supposed to do. I appreciate staying here rent-free and I've appreciated the opportunity given to me, but I don't feel like I should dedicate my life to you guys. It's like now I'm being asked to watch the kids like it's already a given, and that it's not something I can ever say no to, because when I do say no, I'm treated like Voldemort. It feels like an obligation when it should feel like a choice. I felt like the time frame should have been more discussed because I was under the impression I was watching him till 6:30, not 9:30. Thank you for taking the time to read this. Again, I'm not attacking. I just want to ask for more clarity. At this point, that is all she's good for, watching the kids for us for a few hours once or twice a week. And the accomplishment she's referring to is getting her high school diploma at the age of 21, because she dropped out of school a few months before graduating. She still uses my car when needed to go to her boyfriend's house or work. At this point, I am fed up and just can't take it anymore. My husband tells me she is my sister and I need to handle it, and he is tired of taking care of a grown adult. So would I be the a-hole if I ask her to leave my house since she refuses to watch the kids when needed? I know that is long, but feel free to ask any questions. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. Tell her, it sounds like this arrangement is no longer working for everyone involved, and it's time for you to find other housing. Living rent-free for 2 years while she works full-time means she should have some savings. If she doesn't, that's on her. Give her a written notice to vacate with the number of days required by state and/or local law, since she is considered a tenant. This is the direction I would go. See how much time you're required to give her as notice and ask her to move out by that date with written notification. Not the point, but you had your first child when you were 16 and your husband was 21? My daughter is not my husband's bio daughter. You had a teen pregnancy and 2 baby daddies, so maybe don't be so judgmental on your sis getting a GED at 21. GED or not, she was smart enough to figure out birth control. I am not being judgmental about her getting her GED at 21. I was stating the fact that was the accomplishment. And who do you think helped her figure out birth control so she wouldn't make the same mistake as me? Not the a-hole. She says it's a given she'll watch the kids, even though you hired a nanny so she wouldn't have to watch the kids. She has enjoyed your largesse for long enough. Just don't frame it as a punishment. Tell her you're glad you were there for her when she needed it, and after thinking about her text, you can't have her feeling used. You'd like to give her 2 months to find her own place, unless she'd like to leave immediately. Put it in writing and don't back down. Don't go back and forth over what was agreed and whether or not you're angry. She doesn't deserve your energy. She's an ungrateful ass who has started to not just take it for granted, but is trying to drive a wedge between you and your husband. No, this will not do OP. She is a drain on your resources, both emotional and financial. Let her go somewhere she'll get all the appreciation she thinks she deserves. Now for the update. Thank you everyone for your input. That definitely helped me make the right decision for my family. Like many of you suggested, I sat her down, and I apologized for not showing any appreciation and for the fact that she felt used. I also pointed out that her watching the kids once or twice a week, it was never last minute, is her only way of contributing to the house. And of course, like many of you predicted, she started yelling that I am attacking her, and that the only reason I took her out of this situation was to benefit me and not her. I confirmed that the previous agreement was something I thought would benefit both of us, not just me. I told her since this new living arrangement is not working for anyone at this point, and since she doesn't want to watch the kids, she has 60 days to find better living arrangements. She stated she never said she didn't want to watch the kids, and I cut her off, stating that as her older sister, I don't want to ruin our relationship, so it's best for her to find another place to live. Because whether she feels appreciated or not, her mental health is very important, and it does matter. I even apologized for treating her as my own child, like taking care of her, taking her to all our family vacations for free. I really thought I was helping her, but now I realize I was hurting her. And now she has a great opportunity to grow and live the life she wants to. By the way, we live in San Diego. Minimum rent for a 1-bedroom is $2,000. I wish her the best of luck. Thanks again, everyone. How did she react to this? She started crying and said that wasn't her intentions for things to get way out of hands. And I told her we can't go back. Everyone needs to move on. She has now lost her cushy, rent-free setup and in-home job. She now has to face the real world for herself, cook and clean for herself. This was what she wanted. If she doesn't like it, tough. Don't back down. She overplayed her hand and lost. She was clearly hoping you would say, okay, you don't have to babysit or do anything anymore. That backfired on her. That's the perfect response. Your sister will face the real world and enjoy her life like she wanted. She's in for the rudest awakening of her life. Don't cave OP. The text she sent to you and your husband was delusional. I was insulted for y'all because that was a sweet deal. No one ever offered me such a sweet deal, though I wish they had. Congrats OP, you're about to get your house back, just in time for the holidays. It was also so rude to wait until OP and husband were on a long-awaited date, and then hijack their precious alone time with a text that she must have known would cause drama. There was a way to talk to her sister that could have let both of them feel heard and respected, and it's sad she didn't pick that. Next story. Am I the a-hole for ignoring my parents and shutting down their weak attempts to bond with me after years of verbally abusing me and ignoring me to care for my disabled brother? My brother, 16 male, is in respite care for the first time ever, and my parents turned their attention to me, 17 male, after he went in. They tried talking to me nicely and making food for us to eat together because we never eat together, and they never make me food. Mom even said she made my favorites, but it was something I would never in a million years eat because I hate mushrooms. They realized it pretty fast and were like, oh, but we all love mushrooms. And I told them they don't know the first thing about me, so stop pretending stuff like that is a we love. My parents told me that wasn't fair, and I said their attempt to bond with me was BS. I brought up how often they push me away, when they'd yell and cuss at me for trying to get their attention. They told me they're under so much stress with my brother, and I asked them if that made it okay to ignore me, and to yell and cuss at me, even cussing and yelling when I was a little kid who needed an adult. It almost became a fight, but I walked off and ignored them when they tried to fight or keep talking. I ignored them another day when they said they were just sitting and talking and wanted me to join in. Then the next day, they said we needed to go for a drive together like a family, and I told them to stop. I said they weren't making up for how they treat me and to stop wasting their energy. I said they didn't get to excuse their behavior or ignore it by offering to talk to me or drive around with me. They said it wasn't fair because they're trying now and again excused it all with, I don't know how hard their life is. They said they want to know me, to find out how school's going, to see what classes I'm taking and what my teachers say about me. They wanted me to help them figure out my school's parent portal because they never gave a rat's ass to sign up and check out report cards and other stuff. It's been easier to ignore than to verbally shut things down because they just want to engage and turn it into a fight. But I'm tired of opening my mouth and being cussed at. It started when I was 4 or 5 and happened frequently for like 10 years. It only stopped when I realized I had to be on my own. My brother's going to be coming home soon anyway, so I won't fight for them to be uninvolved again once he's here and risk more yelling and being cussed at. Am I the a-hole? Your parents probably realized they need to butter you up so you take care of them and your brother in the future. Years of neglect can't be fixed overnight, but also it feels like if your parents try to be decent parents, they will count as going out of their way for you and then try to use it as a weapon to guilt trip you. Hang on for a couple of years and then move out when you become an adult. Maybe. I'm not sure if they're thinking that far ahead yet, but if they are, then they're out of luck because I'm getting as far from them as I can. Oh, they are definitely thinking that far ahead. Get a job, kiddo, and start saving money for your exit plan. Not the a-hole. They should have tried respite stuff long before now and not ignored you. It's common for any other kids in a family with a child with disabilities to get a lot less attention, but that sounds like they've straight up neglected you if they don't even know how to access a parent portal for school. If they're serious about acknowledging all the neglect and trying to make amends, they need to be going to therapy first, and you can go to therapy if you choose to do so, but you do not have to choose to do so for that. That would have been the way to go, but they would not hear of it before now. I remember some relatives on both sides of the family, who by the way did nothing to help me at all, and were happy to let me continue being ignored, suggesting it. I think my maternal grandparents got the worst reaction, and of course that was also taken out on me as if I had said anything to them. You probably should call it neglect. They didn't make sure I was taken care of, because all their attention went to my brother. They didn't even make sure I was going to school every day. One of the reasons I went is because it was an escape from this place. I am so sorry you are going through all this. You might reach out to your maternal grandparents if they're the only ones who tried to point things out and get change for you. I would recommend therapy for yourself at some point, simply because it's really helpful for processing and to have someone acknowledge to you in person that it wasn't right and how you can move forward for yourself. The change wasn't actually for me. They did it for my mom. There was never any support there for me. I wish there was. I tried reaching out to so many family members over the years, but none reached back to me. Last story. Am I the a-hole for ignoring my mom and siblings after they kept the fact Dad was dying a secret from me and then planned his funeral without any input from me? I, 20 male, moved to a different country last year for my education. My dad was my biggest supporter in doing it, and he knew it was a dream of mine to see more of the world outside the US. And when the chance appeared, he was the very first person I told, and the person who pushed for me to do it. I stayed in contact regularly with him, mom, and my siblings, 25, 23, and 18. 3 weeks ago, I got the call that Dad was dead. He'd had cancer and everyone knew but me. My mom and siblings said he hadn't wanted me to know because he hadn't wanted me to leave college and come home to be with him. But I never got to say goodbye. Things had been quieter lately, but I was busy and everyone at home said they were too. My cousin said Dad wanted to tell me before it was too late, but the rest of my family said no, and Dad was too sick to do it. My cousin said he wanted to tell me himself and was pressured not to by a bunch of relatives, including my mom and siblings. I was already furious with them, but then they went and planned everything without me, minus a few details Dad had planned himself. They still wanted me home, but they left me out of the funeral plans. And that's when I exploded and told them not to talk to me, and not to expect me home for the funeral because I didn't want to be around them. Instead, I did my own thing to remember Dad. And that freaking sucked because a part of me is angry at him too. And that hurts because I loved him so much, and he was my #1 supporter. My mom and siblings keep trying to talk to me, but I've ignored every call and text because I want to yell at them and tell them they're all freaking dead to me and they can never make up for this. And I can't figure out if it's grief talking or not, but I have never been this angry. And now I have 2 angry aunts coming for me for doing this to my mom when she lost her husband, and my siblings when they lost dad too. In my aunt's eyes, I'm punishing my mom and siblings for dad dying and making this all about me. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. My mother did this very thing to me with my grandfather. He went into the hospital for pneumonia, which turned out to be lung cancer. I was told when he came home, he was told not to tell me it was cancer. He was coming home to hospice care. They had me call this man to tell him to get well and feel better while he was dying, and then called me once he had passed peacefully with the rest of our family surrounding him. This man begged for me to come home early, but all he was able to tell me was, "I won't be around forever, come see an old man." I told him I would be home in a few weeks for my college break. He passed a week later, and they only told me he had cancer and was on hospice after he had died. The excuse? My mom didn't want me driving home from college upset. "OP, I'm so sorry your opportunity to say goodbye was stolen from you." I know much of how that feels, and I sympathize deeply. I have never truly gotten over it, and it was 14 years ago. I'm so sorry that was done to you. That excuse already makes no sense, because you would not be more upset driving home to say goodbye than driving home for a funeral when you had no chance to say goodbye. And the thing is, nobody else would choose to be in our shoes. They would never want to be the one left out.